Welcome back to Plant Life Project. Today I want to do a revisit of an earlier video, one of the first ones that I did, probably second or third, uh, of houseplants, how to grow houseplants out of a fish tank. And a lot of cool things have happened with my setup since then, but also a lot of not a lot, also something catastrophic has happened. Bad news first, right? Got to get that out of the way before we can talk about the fun stuff. So the bad news is I had a parasite outbreak with my guppy colony, and I ended up losing about 80% of the fish. That sucks. Okay, I wasn't paying attention like I should have been, to the fish. I wasn't looking for symptoms or possible indications of illness or anything. So by the time I finally did notice the symptoms, like sunken abdomen or the fish just kind of slowly swimming in place lethargically, uh, or they lost interest in food. They just weren't acting normal, and then I found a dead fish with a worm coming out of it. That's gross. That's a pretty clear indication that we had a parasite problem. So when I did finally pay attention and notice those things, I went ahead and ordered some general cure, which is supposed to be ideal for taking care of parasites with fish. So I followed the label directions, and then a few days later did a heavy water change, changed about 50%, and I made sure to vacuum the gravel really well, just to get as much of that debris and dead fish and everything out of there. Because it's kind of hard to see these little guppies. Like when they die and they're not floating, they can blend in with the gravel so well. So the only way to really get them out is just start vacuuming, the whole thing. So I did that, and so now the remaining few guppies that I have, they seem to be doing really well. They seem to be more energetic, excited about food again, and I'm not seeing the sunken abdomen or any other of those symptoms. So I think it was a success. But the lesson I need to learn is that I need to pay attention to the fish. It's all about the plants, like I always say. But I do have fish in here because I want this to be a viable ecosystem, just a little slice of nature right in there, right in here in my bedroom. So fish play an important role in fertilizing plants, providing those nutrients for the plants to grow and thrive and just really do well and just provide that enjoyment for me. So I need to pay attention to them. Their health is important. Um, so okay, bad news out of the way. Hopefully you learn from my mistake and don't do what I did. So bad news out of the way. It's a new year. New year. Let's get rid of 2020 and all the bad stuff that happened. It wasn't just COVID. It was parasite problems. For the guppies. So that's out of the way. Now let's talk about some of the cool things that have been going on with my setup, and I've made a few changes along the way, and I want to show those to you. So let's take a look. Well, the coolest thing that's happening is my plants are thriving, which that is the whole idea of this setup. I want lush plants growing out of the top of this tank. So that is happening. I'm so thankful. The pothos is doing well directly in the water, and those roots definitely provide some shelter for the baby fish or fry. And I'm trying to train the vines to grow up this part of the frame for the light, and that I'm having trouble right now keeping them wound around that pole, so I may have to break out the trusty old zip ties or Velcro straps or something. The peace lily is doing quite amazing. It's bloomed several times since it's been planted here. Right now you can see the large bloom it currently has. The foliage is spreading out more. I'm trying to keep it trimmed away from the wall, but I'm trying to let the foliage do its thing by giving shade to the fish, to the water. I think that's doing well. I normally have this grow light higher up, but the reason I lowered it is I wanted to make sure that the fish tank itself showed up well in the video, but it also is blocking the view of the umbrella sedge and the peace lily. So now I'm thinking, do I need to raise my grow light a little higher? So it's something I'm pondering right now. But speaking of umbrella sedge, man, this stuff is just taken off. I have pruned it back a couple of times now, 2 or 3 times. I haven't pruned it back all the way, but I'm just trying to keep it a manageable height by pruning out the tallest stems. But this stuff just keeps on going, and I'm glad. That's the kind of problem I want to have. I want the plants to do so well that I don't know how to keep up with them. But now I'm thinking, well, do I let this get tall? Because this is a dwarf variety, but it'll still get 3 to 4 feet tall. I want to let plants do what they're supposed to do, grow in the way that they are supposed to grow, and not just try to constantly cut them back all the time. But I don't know. I may end up doing that, raising my grow light and letting these plants have more air space. So I'm thinking through that now. Now I added some submerged plants in the tank, and I have a confession to make. If you haven't noticed already, these submerged plants are fake, and I can say that with no shame. I used to be ashamed of just the thought, just the idea of having fake plants in a fish tank, but I'm giving myself some grace here, because for the past 2 to 3 years I have been trying to grow live plants in the fish tank with very little luck. I mean, easy to grow plants like Java moss, Java fern, Anubias, Anacarus, just easy to grow stuff that they'll do well for a while, and then they'll just slowly start dying. And I mean, I've done all the measurements in the water, nutrient measurements, and pH, all that stuff, and fertilizers and different additives, and I just could not get them to work. So I decided, you know what, there's too much energy going into something that's just clearly not working well for me. I think for now I just want to hit the easy button and use the artificial plants. And thankfully there's a good selection out there of more realistic looking plants, and not just the hot pink, orange, bright purple. I prefer to try to make it more naturalistic looking. And the fish have really responded well. They like to have extra places to hide, and helps them feel safe to have some plants in there, even if they are fake. So anyway, no regrets here. This makes life so much easier. Helps me focus more on the live plants, not worry so much about what's going on below the water. Just need to keep an eye on the fish's health, like we talked about a few minutes ago. Oh yeah, all the house plants. In my first video, I did not have all these house plants hanging from the ceiling. And the reason is because I grow them outside during the summer months, and when the temperature starts to get below 50 degrees at night, that's when I start to move them back inside. And but having them here in the bedroom around the tank, it just really helps provide just that jungle oasis during the winter time. And I really enjoy having just the green, just having life back here when it's so dreary outside. The LED shop light that's hanging from the ceiling is new, and that's it's not a grow light. It doesn't have a grow light bulb. It's just a high output LED, just for shop use or extra light in a room. But the houseplants have responded well to it. It is providing extra lumens, and so it is helping the plants. But the main reason I have it is for some backlighting, for aesthetics in the room. But it also helps the plants as well. So that's good. I like that. I'm happy that I added that. And the racks that I have on the wall, the plants are hanging from, that's new. These are just closet brackets that got from Lowe's or whatever. And then I had some extra rods that we were not using in some of our closets, So I decided, hey, let's hang some plants from them, and that works out great. You know, it's far enough away from the wall that the plants aren't right up against the wall, and I was going to hang the plants from the ceiling. That was kind of my original thought, but the problem is the way the studs are spaced, the plants would be too far out into the room. So this works better. I also want to show you my power strip that I have on the wall. I added that just to make it easier to access the outlet, because the outlet that the power strip is hooked to is behind the fish tank. Plants are doing well, fish are doing well, so I'm happy. Oh, I wanted to show you my Christmas cactus. I had blooms on it early this year. It bloomed back in October, but it has formed more buds, and I'm excited about that. I don't think I've ever gotten 2 bloom cycles out of a Christmas cactus in one season. My spider plant doing awesome. It's all of this new growth that's really long. That's really happened since I brought it inside, so I'm glad to see that. And it grew a lot during the summer, but man, it's still growing well. Well, before we wrap things up, I have a favor to ask of you. Please leave me a comment in the comment section about what you think about this video. Is this the kind of video that you want to see more of? I have a variety of different plant projects that I do videos on, as you well know, and I want to know if you guys want to see more of fish tank type projects, or would you like to see more of container gardening or landscape projects? Just let me know. I would love to hear from you about that. And Happy New Year to all the plant lifers out there, and I hope you have good success this coming year with your plant projects. And don't forget, it's all about the plants.